FM News Talk 97.1. On demand audio.
Joining me right now on the phone is a conservative named Mike Stack. He's on Twitter. He's one of the conservatives on Twitter who, just like with a million other people, were talking about this whole Weinergate scandal. He's Goats Red on Twitter. Mike's joining us right now by phone. Mike, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us on short notice. And I know that there's been a lot of discussion about you. You've had to deal with a lot of stuff because of some allegations made by other people. Let's go back from sort of like the beginning of this, because a lot of people are asking, who is Dan Wolfe? No one really knows who Dan Wolfe is, do they?
Absolutely not. He came and went, and he left a lot of mangled bodies behind him.
Yeah, I don't even, as I was saying before break, we're not even sure whether or not it's a chick or a dude. It's a relatively new account that was created in January. How did you come to get to know this individual who was the person who was alerting all of these media to this Anthony Weiner Y-Frog photo that kickstarted this whole Weinergate thing? How did you first come to know him or know of him?
One day I just noticed him in a stream in my timeline, and he had a Ronald Reagan avatar, and I've been a Reagan fan since I was a kid because that was the first president that I really became aware of. And I must have just said, hey, nice avatar, whatever, and we began to talk and chat. And I introduced him to some people that were my friends in the stream, and we just kind of hit it off. Nothing real, crazy. And that was it. He was in my stream every day, and he seemed to have the same type of issues I had,
right,
with the different politics and things of the day.
Now, some of the stuff that people have told me is that this individual, this Patriot USA 76 guy, this Dan Wolfe person, was the one that it seemed to be really motivating the group to look at Anthony Weiner stuff, and was sort of like the big motivator in that. Is that true?
That is correct. It seemed as though every day there was a different person that he was watching on Anthony Weiner's friend list. There was always some kind of update. Oh, he's following this girl, or look who this girl is following. And it just seemed that now we know, but it seems like there was always a page opened. And
right.
There was always some type of Weiner, aka Weiner news every day.
Did it strike you as odd then, or were you just like, maybe did you ever think that maybe this Dan Wolfe character had like a vendetta against Anthony Weiner? Did you all ever talk about it?
It didn't strike me as strange at first, because he just, he didn't make a huge big deal of it. He just said, a couple of crazy things. And I mean, he said something like, oh, I left New York City when Anthony Weiner was running for mayor or something like that. I haven't liked him. I've never liked him. And I took the jabs and the barbs as just something, the guy's last name. He's kind of, a showman, so to speak, on the floor of Congress. And, just maybe he had a disdain for him. Just,
right.
Now it didn't really strike me as funny, at the point. It didn't strike me as strange.
Right. You've been yourself have been through a lot because of this. Now, everyone, apparently the people in the group had kind of a falling out with Dan Wolfe. He went completely silent after I and Andrew Breitbart asked him for his phone number. And then there were all of these stories as to why he couldn't give it. But you felt as though, and others from what I've been told, that he kind of threw you under the bus. How was that?
Well, I know the Saturday when everything was coming together, I asked him also to be part of a conference call for certain things, and he didn't want to all of a sudden. He said, well, why does anybody need to talk to me? Why does, can't you do this or do that? And I said, well, you put my name next to this thing.
Right.
You volunteered my name. And he said, well, I'm having some troubles right now. There's some stuff going on I can't really tell you about. And from that moment, after that, the next time I received an email from him was Monday, explaining his situation. But after that, I never heard from him again, and I believe various people have. But on the record with certain people, even on Twitter, Lee Stranahan has gotten him on Twitter and on the record said, is it true that you've said this to Mike or you haven't? And he refused to even answer on the record, even no.
Right.
To say no. I never said this, but he refuses to even answer that on the record.
Now, as a result of this, you've had, I'm told that your information has been published all over the web, that you've had threats. What have you had to deal with because of this entity's accusations and things that he said that you've said?
Well, I've been accused of framing Rep. Weiner, been accused of hacking Rep. Weiner. My email address was put out there, then pictures of my house, my address, my phone number. What? Let's see, my neighbors' names.
Oh my word!
And I have all the screen caps of it. It's pretty disturbing. And there was a couple of gentlemen who just kept retweeting it over and over again. Let's see, death threats, of course, and personal information.
Right. So just the whole gamut of stuff. And this guy, this person has gone silent. You haven't have you ever talked to him on the phone? Never talked to him. Just, it's all been like pretty much Twitter?
Well, yes. The Friday evening in question, about 12:15, I received a text message from him, but investigating it with everyone, it turns out it was sent from a computer program that produces text messages. So we looked it up and we found out that we can't tell where it comes from. I have that screen capped, so we couldn't even track him down that way, so to speak.
Wow, Mike, would you want to hang on for us over this quick break to the next segment, because I have a couple more questions. It's shedding a lot of light on this story. Do you have the time to be able to do that? Okay,
I would love to, Dana. Sure, it's my pleasure.
Fantastic.